The biggest question I get about my philosophy is, what is the essence of what I'm trying to say? And also, what are my influences? So I'm going to try to answer the first question, but the first caveat is that I don't take for granted that I know what philosophy is, and I don't think necessarily that it's simply a matter of communicating information that then is absorbed. So I'm interested in sort of other kinds of meaning effects, like actually having a kind of disturbing effect or just sort of an inspiring effect, where like it's not so much that like my ideas go into your mind, but maybe you kind of think differently about the world, or pursue whatever. I also think that my philosophy is not for everyone. It's really kind of a self-selecting thing. It's sort of for people who are like me. And I would also say that I don't really see my philosophy as separate from my music and my art. Though it is important to me that each stand on its own in a way. Like a key philosophical thesis of mine is that non-ideological thought isn't possible unless it's integrated with a music and art practice. And that's actually one of the main things that I think of myself as saying. I think that, and I would encourage anyone to do all three of these things. For now, I'll just say what my questions are. They're kind of the basic ones. What is the highest horizon for self-realization? How does one really become free? And specifically, how in our times? And then what is an ideal community? And what is an ideal, like, kind of evolution for humanity? To that end, another key, like, concern of mine is holding on to profound, ancient perennial truths from pre-modern philosophy. And on the one hand, showing how they are still valid in our time, where I think they're denigrated in a lot of ways, but to do so in a way that also refines them for our time and preserves their essence. Like, I think a lot of people who look at ancient truths end up doing it with a reactionary spirit, and that's ideological, just like the mainstream ideology is ideological. So in a lot of ways, I'm doing this for myself, proposing a vision of heaven, a vision of how to achieve it. And so, yeah, and then the answer to the question of how to achieve the vision of heaven is total art. I do think that everybody kind of is actually a composer and an artist and a philosopher. Granted, those are my three big interests, but like, to me, in my view, they correspond to three essential domains, not just of the soul, but of the absolute. I think that they correspond to the true good and the beautiful, which, contra most contemporary philosophy, are actually transcendentally above everything. I'm seeking to dissolve the artificial cleft between religion and civil rights, and I'm seeking to dissolve the artificial silos between fine art, academia, and the entertainment industry. And then the last thing I'll say is that my starting point is Christian dogma. The reality of the Trinity, the creation from nothing, the fall of man, Christ being sent to earth to redeem humanity's sins, the Immaculate Conception, the resurrection, the Pentecost, and so forth. But, with these modern currents, Romanticism, Hegel, Blake, Nietzsche, and so forth, idealism, materialism, psychoanalysis, and then, the kind of project of like the avant-garde, the project of experimental music, and then of course like cognitive science and machine learning and cryptocurrency and like all that.